So welcome to the first episode of Making Sense for March 2026. Also welcome to the first edition of Making Sense in the middle of an armed conflict over in the Middle East at the moment. Boy, things have changed since last week. I don't want to get stuck too much on the geopolitical situation. You can watch eNCA, go to eNCA.com for all of that kind of analysis. I'm trying to make sense of why you and I should be caring about this. It's not to suggest we shouldn't be caring about a global war like this, or at least a global conflict, let me correct myself, but how is it going to impact your life, if not right now, certainly in weeks to come, in months to come. And Francis Heard, very kindly going to give me an Econ 101 lesson again on all of this. And Francis, I'm glad you're with me again, because you and I, and obviously you cover oil prices so much. It's the oil versus the rand and the dollar, but everything we've seen, the oil price, even for a muggle like me, which is now, must be over 83 something as of today, is going to worry all of us who drive cars, trucks, own businesses, and the sort of number is going to keep many of us up at night. Where are we at the moment?
83, you're absolutely right. $83.44.
Wow.
And yeah, the point is that since this outbreak of war, conflict, whatever you want to call it, people are getting killed and guns are going off and bombs are going off. It's gone above 80, and we've seen in the last few days between 82 and 85. It was threatening to go to $85 per barrel. And you're right, it affects all of us because next month they're going to calculate the price of fuel based on this month's average price of oil.
There's that lag, isn't there?
Yes, yeah. And it's also oil in rand because oil is quoted in dollars. So you have to buy it in dollars. So it also affects what the rand exchange rate also affects how much we pay for that oil. And the rand has weakened as well for various reasons. The dollar is strengthening. So yeah, the predictions are, I mean, Kevin Links, a respected economist, he said between 2 rand and 4 rand per litre up next month. Based on the current price, but we're not seeing that price change. And it depends how long it lasts for, right? So if it's a few days, which was the hope in the beginning, then obviously oil prices can come down, the rand can strengthen, and things could even out. But now Trump has been talking about something way longer.
5 weeks and I'm not going to try to do a Trump impersonation, as long as this conflict takes, is what he's saying, which it says, how long is a piece of string?
Yeah, who knows? So that is very unclear. It's unclear what the Americans want to achieve because there's been different rhetoric, firstly. And then how do you achieve that and how long is it going to take? Like you say, and this has huge implications for the world. The finance minister has been talking about it because it puts our projections out. So he's been saying that when he presented the February budget, when things were looking very good in terms of inflation, which is the rate at which prices are increasing, they didn't pencil this in.
Who could?
Yeah.
Who could?
Maybe they could have. It's so unpredictable. There's so many variables here. But the oil price feeds into the fuel price, which then goes into our cars. So it affects transport, it affects buses, it affects taxis, it affects the trucks that carry the goods. So you could see it filtering through to food prices, etc.
Especially when it comes to the diesel side, because that's I like to call it the fuel of industry. It's just what these trucks use, isn't it?
Exactly. And I'm sorry for you because you drive a diesel car.
I'm trying not to tear on camera, but I'm sorry. You said possibly between 2 and 4 rand. Didn't we just have a fuel price increase? And I think I got smacked with an extra 62 cents per litre. And you're saying it's going to get worse.
Yeah.
I love you, but I hope you are wrong about this.
So petrol was a 20 cents increase. That takes it 95 unleaded.
Yes.
I always like looking at 95 unleaded inland because it's also cheaper at the coast, by the way, because you got to get the trucks to get it to 5
which use diesel to get the 95
so
up to here.
20 rand 30. But you're right, diesel went up way more. And we looked at the Central Energy Fund releases a kind of a tally of where we are along the way, along the month. And there's either an under recovery, meaning the current prices are too low and they're going to have to hit consumers next month. The under recovery a few days ago was R1.73 for petrol, way higher for diesel, about R3. Now, Kevin Links's prediction was looking at petrol, R1.73 already. It could get worse, right? So we're almost on R2. It could get worse. Plus, in the budget, new fuel levies were announced, which are coming in.
Thank you
on
for that, by the way.
1st of April. Yeah, 21 cents.
Can we just bookend this? Because I am getting on in years, clearly, but I'm trying to think back. It must have been 9 years, maybe a decade ago. We had one of the lower fuel prices. I'm using the word fuel just as a generic for both diesel and petrol in this case. It must have been 2017. We were below 13 Rand a litre. And it wasn't.
You must add the good old days.
The good old days. Oh, listen to me. The good old, back in my day. But then it wasn't long after that, late 21, early 2022, the Ukraine-Russia war broke out. And
yes.
I thought I was misreading the indicators because it went from this 12, 80, 13 Rand within 5 years, to be fair, to over nearly 26 Rand per litre. I mean, is that the kind of scare that we should brace ourselves for here?
Yeah, so 2022, and you're right, it was linked to Ukraine, nearly 27 Rand.
That's right, yeah.
4.95 unleaded. So we're at currently 20 Rand 30. So add 4 Rand if the conflict would last for another, add 4 Rand as a worst case scenario in April. If we had something similar for the next 2 months, we're there. We're at the highest.
Yeah.
And this raises so many inflationary concerns. So in my little career, and we've discussed this before, I've seen oil at 0.
Yes.
And I've seen oil at 100. And I remember the stress, I think it was after the financial crisis, about what happens if oil hits 100. And the world has to survive, right? But energy prices, gas is going up in Europe. It's creating alarm because you're cold in winter.
Yes.
And beyond that, of course, it feeds industry and a whole lot of things. So it's serious.
It is serious. I wonder, though, as we come back home, apart from what this may do for our bank balances when it comes to filling up our cars, you spoke about the fuel levy earlier. The finance minister mentioned the increase in fuel levy. Can't government do something? Give us a little cuddle, a little hug? Just tell us it's going to be okay?
So it has done that before. Government has done that before and waived or delayed, I can't remember, the fuel levies that were coming. So that is a possible tool. And by the way, if we're talking about people's pockets, what this also means is that interest rates, the Reserve Bank will be reluctant to drop interest rates further. And we've had quite a nice time. After a very bad time, South African consumers were feeling a bit of a relief because interest rates have been coming down, inflation has been coming down. The retailers, I must tell you about ShopRite, but the retailers have been saying there's actually deflation in some of the food prices.
Oh.
So it was looking good, and we were hoping for more interest rate cuts. But when the Reserve Bank meets later this month, guess what it has to consider is the oil price. The fact that interest rates won't come down quickly in the US, also possibly delayed, is why the dollar is strong, partly why the dollar is strong, which is affecting our rand. So it has so many implications. ShopRite said earlier this week, we spoke to them when they released results, that some of their goods were being held up in the Suez Canal. So business is also starting to watch, and the CEO said it was not a crisis. There were big companies involved and they would sort this out. The Suez Canal obviously linked to what was happening with Israel, the retaliation. But businesses are going to be affected in other ways as well.
And let's not forget, because many of the goods, I don't have the number offhand, I wouldn't pretend to know, but many of the goods that come into South Africa come in via ships. And when you got a massive channel like Suez, and I suppose from the fuel side, the Strait of Hormuz now being affected as well, it does have a very, very real impact. Don't worry, there's no exam that Francis is going to be holding at the end of this podcast. Thank heavens for me.
Why not?
Why not? Maybe we should start introducing that. A quick test, a quick quiz at the end. Francis Hurd, thank you very much. That's what I wanted to make sense of. Yes, it is happening in the Northern Hemisphere. Yes, you're watching the headlines, but I wanted to just get an idea of what you could, should, might, probably going to be feeling in the next month or 2 months, at least when it comes to the price of goods and also filling up your car. Boy, we enjoyed the holiday. That holiday is far behind us now. Thank you very much for watching. This is Making Sense. We're back with you again next week. Bye-bye.